So now we're on to This Bleak Bliss, which probably until 13 Feet came along, this was the most accessible one we had in our repertoire, should we say. This is easily the oldest song on the EP. This one's been around for a while. I think we released this back in September, like last year. So yeah, it's been around for a long time. This song originally, This Bleak Bliss, in its most primitive form, was very gloomy, and like not heavy in terms of like heavy, like just it felt like being sucked into a black hole. That song did. These big boomy, kind of not dissonant, but dark and ominous chords. Really kind of like had a gloomy and dark atmosphere to them. Even the chorus itself was like being slowly gone like this elevator down to hell. It was intense, but then I get another demo back a few weeks later, and all these lead lines had been added, which really gave it some levity, really pushed that high end, and made it kind of like this soaring feeling as well as this absolute crushing, just somber nature. So when I listened to that, I was like, I know where we're going with this now. It's time to get some choruses in. So yeah, that's Bleak Bliss, a bit of a weird one. It went from being like the gloomiest, heaviest song in some ways to the most accessible and catchy. This one fits on the EP well because it was in the same tune, in the same key. But because it was such a favourite of everybody when it came out as a single, I thought let's reimagine it in an EP context, and it just works really well with everything else. So it made sense to put it on there. And then in terms of vocals and lyrics, so this is a trigger warning now. We're going to be talking about bereavement and death a little bit. So when I was 18, I'll just cut to the chase with this one. I won't do the really long version. I found the deceased form, should we say, of a family friend when I was 18 years old. So it was like my first ever experience with like death up front, kind of in first person. So that kind of stays with you a little bit and shapes you, the way you see the world, and kind of brings this like new level of kind of maturity and perspective. So that's always been there. And then a few years after that, I lost a very close relative as well, and I feel like my experience previously, encountering death, firsthand, kind of helped me get through that and be, pretty much okay about it. So as it's a song about dealing with the darker concepts of life and some, sad realities, I thought it was, it's perfect to put within the setting and the concept of the Chaos Sermons EP, because it's about growth and development, and burning off dead wood, and finding calluses emotionally and mentally and all that stuff. So even though it wasn't directly linked with the flowing storyline, it still had a place there, and it really makes sense to put it on there. So yeah, lyrically we deal with, it's in the lyrics, we deal with loss, death, our own, coming in terms of our own mortality, how we view life. There's a lot of allusion and allegory to the seasons changing and whatnot, and through the lyrics and the music there's not like a through line. We don't start dark and then go sad, it's high, it's low, because the stages of grief are like that, and there's no set road for anyone, it's a roller coaster. So we harken back at the end of the song to feelings of anger, but then we might be peaceful and on a level with things. You'll hear in the choruses everything's kind of cool and we've made peace with it, and then at the end of the song we're angry and we want to tear the skyline down. So yeah, that's This Bleak Bliss. Easily our most accessible in some ways, but also our gloomiest in other respects. And I can't finish this video without mentioning the acoustic version that we did, and how that came about was basically, I think we were actually writing the demos for Death Spiral and what would later become 13 Feet Beneath. I think it was back in September last year, and I don't know if we were messing around with acoustic or whatever, but I'd always had the idea kind of burgeoning and burning in the back of my head that Bleak Bliss would work well as an acoustic. I think that was just basically because of the nature of the chorus and the bridge. But yeah, I was like, let's give it a go, let's see how we go. So we whipped the acoustic out, we did a few runs of it. Thought, okay, yeah, we'll have a look into that. And then rather than doing a video for This Bleak Bliss, I thought, well, do you know what? We're going to be tracking the acoustic. It'll be kind of a live loungy setting. Let's get a video, let's get it tracked down, and then we heard it the day after and we're like, yeah, this is brilliant. It really just, it gave that song a new lease of life, and it gave it a, you know, you kind of look at it with a multitude of views that you wouldn't really get from the old one. You know, you get a lot more out of that song with the acoustic setting as well, and it was more accessible and it was more pleasing for a few people. So yeah, now that we've got the more listenable version of it, hopefully that is more palatable for a wider audience and it gets more people through a tougher time. Joking, I don't actually care! Give me money!